Now in this video, my wife and I are going to talk about the 3 types of listening. Now this is crucial. This is something that I took away from life coaching that just completely changed my life. I was already a pretty good listener. I'm not a person who likes to talk a lot. Julie's going to share a story with you about, she just told me a few minutes ago about how blown away she was. She was actually freaked out about how I was actually a good listener when I came home from coaching school. But before that, I had a mentor who told me to be interesting, you need to be interested. And I never could, think about that. And it was weird because you think you want to talk, right? You want a conversation, you want to, but if you step back and you just let the person talk, people really care a lot about themselves. You've ever heard of the radio station WIIFM? What's in it for me?
Oh, no, I didn't hear that.
You like that, huh?
Yeah.
You're dating myself, radio stations, But anyway, people really think about themselves. So if you let them talk, and unfortunately, a lot of people are lonely. They don't have anybody to talk to. So if you give them that space and let them talk and let it get off their chest, they're going to like you. And you're like, spoke for half an hour, you said 2 words, and they're like, boy, he's a really great guy. And that's what happened at the restaurant. My brother would be in the front. He'd always be talking. People really just wanted to talk. They'd go back to Gino. So Gino was the psychiatrist. They'd all come back to me and tell me their problems, and I wouldn't say anything. And they're like, boy, your brother's a really cool dude. I never said anything. So that's so great about listening. So the 3 types of listening. One other thing, too. God gave us 2 of this and 1 of this. Let's use that in conjunction. Listen more than talk. It's like 80% listening and 20% talking. If you can keep it at that, believe it or not, you're going to be a great listener and you're going to build that rapport with people. So what's the first type of listening?
So the first type, Gino, is informal listening, and that's basically what, when I'm trying to get the weather, I'm looking on the computer, I'm listening to the forecaster, he's telling me what the weather, I'm getting information. I'm not really looking at his body language or what really he's saying. I'm just getting facts. I'm just getting information. And I'm wondering too, is when you were in the restaurant, were you just getting that information from the people in the back, or were you really listening?
That's a good point. I'm not sure. Now that
From
you
my
say
story that I'm going to share, I'm actually knowing what it was. Share that with you in a minute, though.
It's funny that she says that because I don't know. Maybe I would just want to listen to people. Maybe I was just bored in the back. Maybe I like that camaraderie. I was lonely in the kitchen working on the chickens, and I just wanted to speak to somebody or actually talk to somebody. It's all about relationships. So if you can listen better, your relationships are going to be much better. So what was your story?
Well, okay, now we're going to go into active. Let's go into active listening.
Before we get into that, she calls it informal. I call it subjective.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yes.
But anyway, are you doing this? Start talking to me.
So the story was that I was pregnant.
Wait, hold on a second. When did it happen? That's subjective listening. I'm jumping in. She's not even finished. If you're thinking about something to say before she's done talking, you're subjective listening. It's on your agenda. You're not worried about her agenda. So be careful with that, because people who are like that can't connect. There's no rapport building. That is not where you want to be when you're in a real estate deal. You want to listen to the other side. You want to be open to what they're saying. Don't think about what your next question is going to be. Be present, listen to them, have that body language, be locked in. Don't be thinking about what you're going to say next. Next one.
Ready? You want me to tell my story?
Yes.
Okay. Story was pregnant with our 6th child. Yes?
Your 6th child,
Okay.
yes.
6th child. My husband's going to coaching school. He's obviously doing a lesson on listening. He comes home. He sit on the couch. He asked me a very deep question, which took a lot out of me, because I really had to think. I really had to think to answer this question. Mm-hmm. And as I was talking, he sat and he looked at me and he stared at me. And I was getting really uncomfortable because I didn't know what he was doing. And I actually stopped and I said, Gino, is everything okay? Am I saying something wrong? And he said, no, I'm just listening. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I think, well, maybe that was the first time he actually sat and listened to what I was saying. And how crazy that sounds, but it's true. We don't listen half the time. Half the time we're thinking about, like he said, that happened to me when I was that age. Yeah, I did that too. We're not actually focusing on what the person is saying.
And I think leaders who truly lead are listening to people, are listening to their team, are listening to their groups, assessing what they're saying, and then going back and asking them questions. That's what the powerful thing about that we're going to talk about, the 3rd level of listening is. It's really sitting down and being present with the person. Not just listening to their words, but listening to the energy behind their words, listening to the tonality, watching their body language. And I just learned this. I mean, I don't want to generalize, but most men can't do more than one or two things at a time. If I'm watching TV and my wife's talking to me, I really honestly can only do one at a time. So that's why the subjective listening, especially with my children, I've got to shut the TV off and turn around and be present for her, right? So just be aware when you're doing that. Shut the TV off or tell your wife to hold on a second. I'd rather shut the TV off. But seriously, focus on one thing at a time. That's why the One Thing by Gary Keller, I'll reference that book again. Focus on your one thing. There's no such thing as multitasking in life. That's a fallacy. You want to complete a task. Let's focus on that task. Let's do the best job we can. I've got 5 minutes with my wife in the morning. I'm having a cup of coffee. Let's have that level 3, not the level 1 where you're just there. Be present. Be present in every situation you're in. So go to the second one.
Well, that was active.
Oh, active.
You were doing active. You were actively listening to me.
But,
and that's why I wonder, when you were in the restaurant, were you actively listening to those people talking to you all those years? Or were you just listening to their facts and hearing them and not knowing what to say? Maybe you said something here and there.
Well, that's great because that comes with the training. So when you get trained to be a life coach or you do any kind of personal development, I think that's a skill. Just like anything else, asking empowering questions is a skill. So I was probably active listening, but I didn't know what to hear. When I'm back up in New York, I'm always talking to people. I let them talk and I hear the word a lot from people and I talk about business all the time and relationships and people like, I'm trapped at my job. I hear these words now and they just triggers me. I'm like, wow, I didn't pick up on that 5 years ago. And it's a recurring theme in a lot of people. And if you listen to it, there's a lot of patterns in people. So the active listening is, I'm sure, what a lot of you out there are doing. But let's go to the third one. The third one is intuitive. That's where you really lock in. And I think that's what I did the first time I really did at coaching school because I asked her a question and then a good question begets another good question, which begets another good question. And the better questions you can ask, the better answers you're going to get and the more fulfilling your life is. So what's the third one?
Well, the third one is intuitive. And I think maybe you were getting at that as well, where that's kind of, you're even deeper than not just listening to what you're saying. You're also, what's behind that? What are you meaning behind those words? Because there's usually more to it, right? So you're looking for, patterns of words that you're saying. You're looking for the words that you use. Like you said, what did you say just before? People are...
It's all about them.
No, they're stuck. What did you say?
People are trapped.
Trapped. When people say that they're trapped, that's something you have to listen for. Well, what are they trapped by? You have to go into that. So you're intuitive about how they're acting.
And keep asking those questions. What does trapped mean to you? Paint the picture for me. That's what's important. Now, the thing that I want to stress about this intuitive, this is especially for business. When you're in negotiation, it's really not about A. There's always other hidden agendas. There's always other stuff going on. When you're looking to, buy a property from a seller who's motivated, really become intuitive. Speak to the broker, build rapport, ask those questions, and then be quiet and listen because people love to talk. And you'd be amazed to know why the seller is selling. He's motivated, but why? Well, my kid is sick. I can't pay the medical bills. Or you know what? I'm doing a 1031. I need the money today. Or you know what? I'm just burned out. I hate this place. Or you know what? I can't pay the mortgage. Whatever it is, if you have that intuitive listening, you can be quiet. You show empathy or sympathy for their situation, but let them talk and be intuitive. And that's how you're going to connect with people. So let me recap this. I hope my wife is listening to me right now. There's 3 types. I call it subjective, which is the lowest level. This is what we do every day. We're out and about. We're just listening, just commenting. The agenda's all on us. The next one is, I call it objective or active. You're really listening to somebody. You're really dialed in. But the third one is intuitive, which is really a high level. You're really, geared into them. You're looking at the tonality. You're looking at body language. Reading between the lines. That one takes a little bit of practice. So for me, an action step for you when you're done with the video, the next couple of conversations you have, see where you are. I also challenge you to do this. Try to go blank. Try not to worry about what you're going to say. Because when you're at that state, people can feel that tension. Jewel, start talking to me.
Well, I have to go inside and make dinner. The kids are hungry.
Okay, go ahead. Do you see, my tension's not at her right now. I'm subjective. I'm just not paying attention to her. She feels that. There's no connection. There's no relationship there. So have that action plan of where you are. And it's okay if you're at the subjective level. We've all been there. The idea behind all this training, behind life coaching, is to raise your awareness of where you are today, and to grow and to be a better person and to be a smarter person and to be more engaged and to be, the relationships is what life's all about. If you have great relationships in life, you're gonna love life. Money's great, but money's not the cause, money's the result. From all these relationships, from doing what you love to do in life, the money's gonna come. Relationships, I think, are the most important thing. And how do you create those great relationships? By being a great listener, by being there for people, by asking people questions, by being intuitive. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it, I can't believe it. See, she's listening right now. She listened to what I had to say. So we wanna thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or any comments, leave them down below in the box. We'd love to answer anything. Thanks again, guys.